Oh, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Oh, God, I came. ah, ah, Running a little late. Ah, okay, I'm going to put in my earphones so I can make sure that you hear me good. Danny, I have not seen you for a while. Ooh, I need to turn on my phone. Wow, how are the kids, Danny? Ah, Vonda Fawn, thank you for being here. Warm, strong. Oh, Lord, I have my notes up here. Oh, here they are. Okay, I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes for people to come in. But how has my day has been so busy. So from the time I woke up, the dog didn't sleep all night. And then I knew I had my live. And Danny, I'm glad you're here. Mom of triplets, hello. I'm going to start about 4:20. Let everybody kind of roam. It's like, what, 4 minutes away. I'm not waiting too long. They're going to have to see. They're going to have to come in for the replay. Hey, Deb. Oh, Deborah, my best friend is here. Thumbs up. Well, thank you. I need all the thumbs up I can get. Whew. I'm still hot. My air conditioner is fixed now, but it seems like every time I go on live, because I be running around too. So I know that's part of it. So, but I'm just so happy everybody came, and this stages has been full of blessings. It really has. I say the best blessings is that when you do something, I always say that, and then you don't tell anybody that you did it. And then it happened to me today. Somebody gave me a blessing, and he knew I gave that blessing away, and he gave me another one. I wanted to tell him he took away my blessing. That's what my best friend would have said. Yeah. But and I got the fan going, and I know the air conditioning's on. But how is everybody doing? My friend, I know she's doing good today because she is off. Look at me just pouring sweat. Hey Max, how you doing? I'm getting a lot of new names today. I'm so happy about this. I really am, because my first one of me growing up in the 60s, I was a little nervous. Well, not I guess with people showing up, because you never know. People never know which way it's going to go. And it's really about my life. And then I'm not going to let anybody come in and change my story. So if that's what they're coming in for, to change my story, then they got a problem. But it's been going really, really good. We got one more minute before we start. And I found out, because I really don't like to stay on over an hour. And I think I end up doing an hour and 20 some minutes, but I try to stay within an hour. On my Tuesdays pop-ups, I'll do it anytime. But if you haven't seen all of them, I would say don't look at one, maybe 2, 3, and 4. 2 and 4. 2, 4, and the finale is what I would say. Because when I started this, I had only been on YouTube for a month. So I can hear myself repeating a lot of stuff. Hey, Erie Frog, you didn't have to be here. You could have went out to dinner. And because you can always catch me later. Tell Miss Frog hello. And then next week, I'm going to do a finale about everything together. But today, we're just going to do a continuation of me growing up in the 60s. I didn't know I was going to be, hey, Max, I didn't know I was gonna be part of history. I'm part of history. I'm important. The president should pay me. Just think of the ones older than me. My husband's 11 years older than me. So believe me, he has a whole different experience of when I came up. So he wasn't raised in the city, he was raised in the country. But what we're going to do, we got 6 people here, and you know what I say? That is enough to get us started. It really is. It's enough to get us started. But again, I want to say thank you and for coming back and hearing about my life story. Because really, it started in 1955 when I was born in December. And I was born. I need to check. I need to see the date. I don't know why the date. I need to look on my birth certificate. But I have our birth certificates are so old. I should have pulled them out, and they look like the paper gonna crinkle on them. And they have the time. I don't want to go because it may take too long for me to look for that piece of paper. But I'll make sure I share it next week of how they had the Negro, they had the weight and everything and the date. And I got attended by a doctor. And like I said, I need to look, and I'm sure he'll be easy to find if he was African American. Well, I want to say Negro, or was he white? Is what he. And then last week too, and I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, someone came in and they said that they thought it would be better if I said Caucasians instead of white people. But I won't change that because that is what we called them at that time, and they called us Negroes. So I think if I keep it in that time and that's it, when I try to change it, it becomes uncomfortable. And another neat thing about me is I see this through a child's eyes. I don't see it through how I feel now. Okay. Because someone asked me, how do you feel when you came through that? It was normal. I was born into segregation. It was normal. What can I say? It was normal. By the time 1955 came along, things had started changing, especially by the 60s. So I didn't see a lot of things that my mom saw and felt. Okay. So children, I found out what they are born into, they adjust very well. They adjust very well because you don't know any different. You don't know any different. It's like being poor. Me and my baby sister was talking about that. You don't know you're poor. You're born into it, and all you know as a child, you want to eat, have a roof over your head, and have fun. That's what you want to do. Okay. So going back over a little bit last week, and I'm gonna give y'all homework again because I did that last week, but it's gonna be the same homework. But also too, I didn't talk about this because I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida. Okay, the South, deep in the South. South, we're more south than Mississippi. I think Mississippi might have had it a little rougher than us. But I was born in West Palm Beach, but I was raised in Riviera Beach, Florida. And that's just a hop and a skip out of West Palm Beach. Okay. So it's just a town right next to each other. But what was neat was we had more food. You know how, what I want to say, Danny, how you're planning and stuff. Food, we stayed in the city, but food grew everywhere because we had so much land and there was not a lot of new buildings. Outside my grandma's home, we had guava trees. And I used to eat so many guavas, so I used to get sick. So we didn't go hungry. I could tell anybody, we did not go hungry. Okay, until I seen a worm in that guava. Okay, I ain't never eat another guava until my husband bought some, maybe a month ago. And when I bit into it, it tastes just like what I remembered. And I had not had a guava probably since I had that worm. And also we had mangoes. We had mangoes everywhere. Mangoes, okay? We didn't, those big Hayden, we call those Hayden mangoes in the grocery store that you can purchase. We wouldn't even touch those on the tree at all. Then was like, we wanted these pretty yellow mangoes because they were so sweet. They were so good. And guess where else these mangoes grew? And they still grow there in the graveyard. Those trees, and I'm sure the kids still raid those trees, and they're loaded. And what's so neat is, see, the kids are so used to them being there, so there's always mangoes there, always. And you won't believe this. We always had coconuts too. Yep, coconuts trees grew everywhere. We always had coconut, drink the coconut juice out of that, eat the coconut out of that. And we didn't eat the kind that sometimes it get jellied. We wanted it hard. Okay. So, and another thing, because we had, when my mom moved, I talked about that because let me back up because sometimes I could rush ahead. When I was born, it was generational living. I stayed there with my mom and my sister, my aunt and her children, my grandma and my granddad. If there was anybody else, I can't remember. I know my uncle stayed in a home right in behind my grandfather's home. And we also had a fish market. My granddad had 2 fish markets. I thought he only had 1. Okay. So then, hey, Heather, then once we moved, well, how we moved was my mom's husband ended up dying on an electric pole because Negroes, hey, Elliot, and because Negro men, they worked on the electric poles, but they would cut the trees back because that was the most dangerous, and that's how he died. He got electrocuted on the electric pole. And then my mom ended up suing the electric company, and that's how she got her home. So once she did that, we moved out of my grandma's home and we moved to Riviera Beach, Florida. It was not paved. What else? Oh, we had a pump of running water. We didn't have city water. We had a septic tank in the back. I can remember that. But on those empty lots around us, we had huckleberries. You could just go out and pick huckleberries off. My mom would make huckleberry doobie. We had sea grapes. I don't know if anybody's seen sea grapes, but they grow close to the water. But we had a lot of food to eat, just to go pull it off the trees and just eat it. I don't remember us having avocados. Maybe that was in the area I live in now, but we didn't have avocados. But we had definitely a lot of lakes around us, more than where I stay. And it was mandatory that we took swimming lessons. Mandatory. Because they had a lot of ditches. So we knew how to swim. Okay. I only knew of one drowning. Hey, Bud Fowles, when I was growing up. And it was 3 sisters. I was in 4th grade. And 3 went in and 1 came out. Okay. But that's the only drowning that I can remember. And I think I know that stuck with me all my life. It's just, I know you have things in your life that will stick with you for the rest of your life. Okay. So we could eat out. We could eat out. And I talked too about, we only had 3 TV stations. I don't know what they had in Australia. We had 3 TV stations. We had the antenna on the outside to pull it in. And sometimes when, it would go out, we would go outside and turn the antenna to bring it back in. And then it would go off 10 or 11 o'clock at nighttime. I say that the only time I remember the TV station coming at 24 hours was CNN News, Ted Turner. And I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm not 100%, but that's the only time I remember when TV went 24 hours a day. So everybody went to bed. But I can say during the daytime, we didn't watch TV. On Saturdays, we did. The cartoons, we did. But during the week, we didn't. In the evenings, we did. Okay. And of course, I don't know if we had bedtime or not. I know we weren't sleepy at school. I can tell you that. But my children had bedtime. So maybe we did, and I just can't remember. But I don't remember her saying, Betty, it's 8 o'clock time to go to bed. So I don't know. But I can't remember. I knew we stayed up late. I can't remember how late. As a child, maybe it felt late to me. And then, too, I talked about, this was all from last week, the boundaries of the railroad. Okay. The railroad ran through the city, and we knew that at nighttime we could not go over the railroad where the white people stayed. We knew that. Now, if anybody told me that as a child, I don't know. But we definitely knew that. And even till this day, I didn't say that last week. We putting pizza. Well, Ellie, you could have invited me. Ellie you know how some people you meet and you really just, oh my goodness. Elliot is my new bud. Yeah, but that railroad track was that boundary. Even in town now, I would tell you, there are certain areas that you're still like, maybe I better not go over there. Or there are certain restaurants still. It's not as sad, but I bet you if you walk in there, you would still feel uncomfortable. Okay, I can say that. To be honest, as an adult, yes, I can say that. I still would feel uncomfortable going to certain restaurants. That's just, I don't know if it's something in me from the past, and I would assume so. But yeah, still are some restaurants that I still feel uncomfortable going into. And I'm trying to think if any uncomfortable. Oh yeah, I still, till this day, when I go into a store, I still feel uncomfortable sometimes. I still think about, somebody, if you pick up something and they'll immediately come and say, may I help you? Because I know I've worked in, the public, and I know you get the person's attention before you think they're going to do something. And it may not be, like I say, it could be in my psyche and my perception is what, hey, Scratch and Pete, I didn't even see you come in. But yes, there are boundaries. There's still boundaries. There's just invisible boundaries is what I would call it now. I got something down here. They hated me for the color of my skin. I'm pretty sure that's from high school, because I really didn't realize it at first when I was smaller, because we stayed in a bubble, okay, where it was nothing but Negroes that stayed there. And I talked about it in the first one I did, that the only white person that we saw came into our neighborhood was the insurance man that sold insurance, or the milkman once in a while. It would be those glass bottles clinging, clink, 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 clink. But that's the only one. And then the only people, honestly, that I truly remember growing up was where my mom was a maid for Miss Peace. And I remember seeing her. I remember seeing her kids. I could remember my mom driving to her house. But if you ask me if I saw any white people on the way, I can't remember. And maybe because it's been so long ago that I cannot remember. The only drive I remember home, before we got home, because I used to go to work with her to read David's book. That was Miss Peace's little boy, and that was just a joy in my life. And when we were driving home, I saw that McDonald's sign. I never forget this. And it was the first time I asked and the last time I asked. And I said, oh, Mama, can we go to McDonald's? And then she said, no. She said, because Betty, They're going to tell you to go to the back door. And we proceeded on. And I never asked again. And again, I want you to remember there were more African owned, I want to say Negro owned businesses at that time. So it's like we didn't miss anything. And I keep saying that we could get the hamburger, we could get the hot dog, we can get the barbecue sandwich, we could get the chicken, but it was more home cooked than fast food, really. So I want to say, shoot, we were healthy. We were really healthy. We ate dinner every night with each other. I would say until the TV tables came. But we did for years and years. We ate together every night. And the first fast food that I remember was Kentucky Fried Chicken. I can remember when I had it, what it was, and why we had chicken that day. It was when my mom married my stepfather. First time I ever had any kind of fast food in my hands. And once you taste it, that's it. You're ready for fast food. But I can't remember after that. But I know we had hamburgers and all that stuff. Even my sister worked at Burger King. So, and she was about 4 years older than me? 4 years older than me. But I did work at 16. And it was for Jimmy Fried Chicken. Somebody else. Who was that? Somebody else worked there. Oh my God. I can't remember who it was. But Jimmy Fried Chicken, it was people that owned it for Kentucky. And Jimmy and his wife, they hired me. The lady that in the back, she made the potato salad, everything homemade. She would make it with her hands. I don't remember gloves being on her hands. She was a little short little Negro woman, and she would make it. And I started working there at 16. But with my personality, hey, Mr. Nan, I was a vibrant child, okay? So I started working, and it was true. My mom did the right thing because I always had good grades. And what I would do, we would get off early, and we would go to this street called Rosemary in West Palm Beach. And it was one of those streets that you weren't supposed to be on, okay? There was the prostitutes. There was everything, the movie house. But the dentist and the doctor office was on that street too. But I had great times working in there with the music, especially on Friday and Saturday nights. Oh my goodness, but my grades did drop. And my mama made me stop working. Parents were very into our school lives. Very. The teachers did not have to call. That's all I got to say. The teachers did not have to call us, our parents, at all. Well, mine anyway. I don't know about nobody else because I knew what I was going to have to deal with. But yeah, they were very involved. And the teachers, let me tell you, the Negro teachers, very involved. We were all like in that bubble. Okay. Hey, BM African, welcome. We were all Negroes in that bubble, in the neighborhood, the churches, the schools. Everybody knew each other. And I think that's what made it work. And I talked about the education last time. We were well educated. I don't care what anybody said. We were well educated. We might have had the old books. We might have had, I don't know what else they say. They said that our education was substandard is what, and even the Negro teachers thought that too. And maybe they knew something I didn't know. Okay. But I know what happened after we got integrated. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we did learn, and we learned very well. And there was a high rate of graduation. High rate of graduation. Even if a girl got pregnant, she still went on to college and graduated. I would say most of the people that did not make it to college was because the families didn't have the money to do it. Okay. But most kids end up finding a way. I know that's why my husband didn't go. He graduated early, So, but he ended up going in the service, and that's what most Negro men did. They end up going in the service because the families couldn't afford for them to go to college. So that's what he did. Places I go is Popeyes and KFC. I love Popeyes. KFC I used to love, but Popeyes took over. Okay, churches, don't want churches. Okay, and I talked about I think what I'm gonna do is go in the video because I think I'm gonna get ahead of myself because I wrote a lot of notes, and I did relook at the video of what I was gonna look at. So what I'm gonna do is go and I thought I had already pulled it up. It better be where it's supposed to be. Oh, I don't want you on the entire screen. Oh, share. And then go back. Okay, there we are. And I think I want to be like this. Okay, so we're going to get started. And, just type Betty if you want to drop your links. And thanks again so much. And let's get started. And as you know, I'll start and I will stop the video when I think that I want to make a point across. So and remember too, I only was doing this for a month. So bear with me in the lighting and my hair. I thought I was cute too. Now I'm look like, okay, here we go. Welcome back. Uh-oh. Come on back. I got some good today for you. This is going to be part 4 growing up in the 60s. Oh, goodness. Jim Crow. What happened to the sound? Let me come back. Okay, this should do it, hopefully. I don't know. It looked like it muted it. Unmute. Oh, I know what it is. It's on my end. Wait a minute. All right. Let me go back over. Is alive, and he never died. All right. Let me go back. Welcome back, cousins. Welcome back. I told you. Come on back. I got some good today for you. This is going to be part 4 growing up in the 60s. Jim Crow is alive and he never died. And my mom said that the KKK went from wearing the cap to wearing a bow tie. But again, I am Betty J. Gathers, daughter of Jean Gray. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, cousins. Now, the ones of you that have not subscribed, why not? Why have you not subscribed? But please subscribe, share, and like. I got it. Subscribe, share, and like. That was so hard for me at first, y'all. Remember who done been here since the beginning with me? How hard that was for me. But I'm coming back with part 4, me growing up in the 60s. Okay. We ended with me in junior high because that's from 6 to 8. We were still segregated at that time. Junior high is now called middle school, is what it is. Okay. But anyway, from 9th to 12th is high school. Another thing I want to talk about, because I went to Lincoln Elementary, Lincoln Junior High, JFK High. My mom went to Roosevelt High. You see what all these names entail? It's where Negroes, I feel, now I don't know, they chose names that they thought that was on the side of the Negroes. Go figure, because when I got integrated, I went to Suncoast High. So, and they had another name for theirs, but I don't know what it was. I know whoever was white would remember, but I have no. They turned it. But anyway, we'll get to that. Mom's best friend.
Oh goodness, I didn't hit.
I'm new to YouTube, and and maybe little Betty knew what she
Oh,
had to
what did
come
I
into.
do?
When I came out,
Oh,
and let me back it up a little bit. I was born
y'all
in my
bear with me. I don't know what the heck I did.
welcome back to school because I know one time I acted up in high school. Y'all remember who done been here since
Hang on.
Lincoln Junior High,
Okay.
JFK High. My mom went to Roosevelt High. You see what all these names entail?
Okay. The reason I stopped it was, oh, everybody's still hanging. Thank you. I never thought about that as a young girl. My mom went to Roosevelt High. I went to Lincoln Elementary, Lincoln Junior High, and John F. Kennedy High. I never thought about that till I was older. Okay. So that was neat. And what I did too was I wrote something on, I can't believe it was 14 years ago, classmate.com. 14 years ago, I went, and I don't know why I remember this, but I want you to listen to this, what I wrote, and I cannot believe it. And that shows you don't forget. Because everything I say, you will know I'm telling the truth because it all comes out the same. I'm actually a teacher. This is GBL and a vice president principal. This is my 33 years, and I heard that 33 years. Now, GBL, you have seen a lot in your 33 years, and I know that GBL has saw kids change drastically, drastically. he I know you could write a book, GBL. I know. Oh, and GBL just got monetized, y'all. Just got monetized. And I just met him and his wife's named Betty, and he's returned and congrats. But yeah. But let me read this to you. But this is what I wrote in classmate.com. Okay, I said I have kind of mixed emotions about graduating in 1973. We had just integrated when I was in 10th grade. We were bused to Suncoast High. I can't even remember if it was named Suncoast or did they change it after we integrated. They changed it because they thought, hey, Jamie, they thought that would make us feel better. Okay? They thought that would make us more cohesive if they changed the name. Um, I think it was Riviera Beach High. I might be wrong. I can't even remember it was named Suncoast or did they change it after we integrated. I know that they did change the school song. They changed the school song to try to make us cohesive. We were just so separated. This is what stands out in my mind. However, I'm glad that I did attend school and graduate at that time. I would think at that time that the graduation was almost 100%. That was before we integrated. I know once they transferred us for Kennedy High, what was lost was our school spirit. What was lost was our school spirit, our and school family was all lost. Can you imagine going to 10th grade? You have gone with nothing but Negroes all your life. Then all of a sudden, there's a change in your life. Okay, can you imagine being a teen and being ripped from your school with all new teachers, all white teachers? I don't know what happened to I had to find that out. I do. And you know, in a child's mind, I didn't even think about it. I think we had a typing teacher, and I don't know what the other one did, but everybody else was white. Okay. And then said, being ripped from your school with all new teachers. And after being ripped, going to a school where some of them hate you. What a lot for a child to bear. To go and see people out in the front of the school acting like savages. We were children, children, and they're out there hollering and screaming that they didn't want us, and we didn't want to be there either, So, and then I said, when I wrote this 14 years ago, I said, you know what? I forgot about some of these emotions until I came back to this page. I can remember the first year was a lot of turmoil and pure hell. A lot of parents and school staff did not like us. I can remember one of the teachers, I think his name was Mr. Fox. His name was Mr. Fox, okay? And I want the ones to remember that's out there, this is my story. This is mine. And sometimes people take it on as theirs, like, okay, she's telling this story, but then she's talking about another. I'm not. It's from a child's mind, and I'm a historian. That's what I say, a talking one. But his name was Mr. Fox. He taught history. I remember that. I may not remember his name, however, I remember the hate on his face. I know if the adults would have just left us alone, the kids would have adjusted. I say that now as an adult, but I don't know. The more I think about it, because if they got the hate from the home, then of course they're going to bring that in there. And I put in there, it did get better by 12th grade. There were Negro cheerleaders, homecoming courts, things that changed. And then I'm glad just to see the faces. I do remember. It was nice also to remember the good times also, because I had some good times at high school. They weren't all bad. I can remember the water fights. We used to have water fights, graduation day, people that was graduating. That carried on over from the Negro school. That did carry over. We had food fights in the cafeteria. We never had that before. They refused to serve apples, anything hard, because the kids would throw them at each other, because we were still separated. Whites would sit up one side and we would sit on the other side. So we still, it still was separate. And then I tell them, I think in a way, the reason I never came to the class reunion was because after 35 years, but we're talking about more years because you got to add 14 years on more. I'm thinking it's just going to be all white classmates. Not anything against you. If it was, I would not know them or have anything in common. We never went to their homes. We never went to their houses. If we went to the football games, that was a big thing growing up at that time. We sat on different ends of the bleachers. Let's see what else. Not anything against you. Okay, I know someone had to say this because it was so true. What I would love is to truly have an integrated class reunion. And get what I said at the end. I'm right at the end. To really feel the togetherness. Even when my sister graduated, she graduated in this right at that point, 70. They were still segregated. To really feel the togetherness that my husband had at his class reunions. That we attend every year. Hopefully I did not offend anyone. I know that we really have changed from the past. However, we still have a long way to go. Even after the election of the president, I was blessed, and this is part of my history, and God bless you all. So at that time, 14 years ago, I felt separated. But I think in a way, when I wrote that, I wasn't looking through it at a child's mind, is what it was. But I'm going to go back, and if you got any questions, I'm going to go back and play it and continue on with this journey. Oop, I don't want to hit the wrong thing and lose it. Is where Negroes, I feel, now I don't know, they chose names that they thought that was on the side of the Negroes.
Go figure, because when I got integrated, I went to Suncoast High. So, and they had another name for theirs, but I don't know what it was. I know whoever was white would remember, but I have no, they turned it, but anyway, we'll get to that. All that. Okay. So from seventh, no, from 8th to 10th grade, I was still in an all segregated school. One of my teachers, I talked about Miss Ruhala, which is white. I talked about her being one of my best teachers. Miss Isaac, a Negro teacher, probably 7th or 8th grade. She was an excellent teacher. I always remembered her. She was also an English teacher. And I'm telling you, our teachers were really superb. And I still say because of the parents helping and kids knew they bet not be acting up in school. Because I know one time I acted up in high school, I begged that teacher not to call my mama. Please, you can hit me, you can do whatever you want. I never got in trouble again, and she never called my mama. Praise God. I tell you, and people always too thought that we got spanked in school all the time, which is not true. I remember getting paddle in my hand in kindergarten, and then probably 3rd or 4th grade. And God only knows I know me. I'm sure I did something, and that was just it. That was it. Nobody ever that I know of that I can remember. Not at the schools I went to. I don't know what schools you went to, but anyway, we are in John F. Kennedy High. Everything. Oh, and that was the first time I ever got bused. But really, John F. Kennedy was less than 2 miles away. So I guess it didn't count back in them days. But I don't know, because you went to high school and they went and picked you up and it was special. But that was the first time in my life I ever got on a school bus and went to school. Okay. And we all still Negroes on that bus going into high school, which is also excellent. Teachers and is what I can remember. Of course, you have your good days and you have your bad days, just like any other schooling, because I could think of some bad stuff that I did, but we not telling. My baby sister tell. But then the government said that if they did not integrate that next year, that they were going to take away all their funding. I was in the state of Florida. I know the state I stay in now, I think it was 68 that they did it here. But in Riviera Beach, it had to be 70 is when it was done. Yep, I think that's when it was. It was in 70 for sure, but that's the reason why they did it. Also, I want you to know too, because in segregation time, we couldn't go to each other churches, even if you was white and black. You couldn't sit. You couldn't sit. You'd be thrown out of there. So we couldn't integrate. So that when they bought that around in 70, then we could also integrate in churches and really everywhere. Did people, some people are not gonna like it, some people gonna still want the old ways, and they gonna fight to keep them old ways. And I think honestly, if I was privileged, I would probably want to fight to keep mine too, to be honest. It's not right, but people claw to stay on that top is what it is.
So I want to go back. Yeah, let me put myself big. That's one thing too. Before I even talk about clawing your way to the top, I really want to discuss that. GBL stated where are y'all from? GBL is from Canada, Fluff is from Australia. Heather is from Australia. Um, Trying to see who else is on here. I'm from Florida in the USA. Warmstrong is, I'm not sure, Warmstrong. You have to write it down. Patrick and Warmstrong is from the same place, I know. And Mr. Nass, I don't know where he is. He travels all around wherever he at, wherever his coffee cup is. But if anybody want to put down at the bottom where you're from, um, I'm trying to see what Heather. No, we are dry as a bone, but it looks like you have storms coming your way. Oh, she talking to Fluff. But most of the people that come here are from Canada. Okay, Warmstrong and Patrick is from Michigan. Erie Frog is from Maryland. Six Bowls is from Welcome Six Bowls is from Missouri. Um, so we everybody is from everywhere, you know. Oh, I got 12 people here. Well, good. Okay, I just stopped the video for a moment. Is before I say what I'm gonna say about climbing our way to the top, is okay, Georgia is here too. Hey, our 1776 Elliot is from is from there. Oh boy, okay. And then Jamie is from Florida. So we're a little bit from everywhere. But I thought about this as an adult after um everything went with the last presidential election, and I'm not even really deeply involved, I can tell you that. But I thought about that. I really did. I thought about, okay, if I have privilege, I'm not ready to give it away. I know it don't sound right, but I'm not ready to give my privilege away either. If I want to be truthful to myself, I'm a claw my way every way to keep that privilege. I don't know how anybody else feel, but that's something you need to think about. Okay, I got this privilege. Do I want to lose this privilege? Patrick, you want to lose your privilege? I can talk to Patrick like that because we talk all the time. Do you want to lose that privilege that you have? You know, and it's just a question. And then also, GBL said something about integration. God, I should have put that up there. We need inclusion and integration. Oh, shoot, it was way up here too. It's so hard to keep up sometime. Okay. The teacher, the principal, 33 years, integration and inclusion is the way of school should be. Okay, I'm gonna tell you my feelings on it. Should we have really been integrated? And I asked that question on here, and I didn't want anybody to answer it. But just think, GBL, we had almost 100% graduation rate. History books don't say that now. Okay, history books ain't saying that. They said we got better. We might have got college more because then there was funding. But graduation, a better life, I don't know. I have to question that. My education, I would say, came before that 10th grade, the majority of it. Okay. And I talk about Miss Isaacs, the African American teacher, well, the Negro teacher. I talk about Miss Ruhala. Yes, if I hadn't integrated, I would never have met Miss Ruhala. She was my English teacher. I talk about her all the time. Okay, all the time. So I asked myself, would it have been better if we would have had just stayed separate? Because we're still separate. We're still separate. Even now, if I go to the north side of town. I stay in the south, and I can't buy a house in certain neighborhoods still. So did it do us any good? I was even listening to Jamia. They were having something at the end, and she was real passionate about it. It was something about color. Something about Black Lives Matter, all that. But I don't know. I just don't know, GBA. I just don't know if it would have made it better. And the only thing too is, would I have been better off? And you got to think too, we had Black-owned businesses. Maybe they weren't big like when Dixie Publix, but they took care of their community. Even when people didn't have money, they still gave them the stuff out the store. So it's just a question. I heard and read that Black unemployment was low at what time? You may know more about that. You mean during the 60s? Are we talking about the 60s? Oh, we ain't talking about the 60s. There was no good jobs. You either maid, you were the chauffeur, you were working in the fields, you might have got fortunate and a family was real good to you. And even the 70s, and I'm gonna get off of this, but even the 70s was really hard, was really, really hard. But even if they work, Elliot, how much money was they making? Was they making 50,000 a year? Was they making 100,000 a year? Or was they making minimum wage? And you got to think a lot of them was college educated too. You got to think about that now. Just think about it a little bit. And that's why I say all of us look at it differently, is what it is. And I really want to get back to the video, but I want to say this because this came up too. And you know what? I can see good sides of stuff and I can see bad sides when somebody bring it out to me. And I was so amazed. I was at a live. They didn't know I was there. But if somebody's here, they will know what live I was at. And they were talking about they weren't prejudiced. And the person continued to say that when somebody say they're not prejudiced, I always know something's coming after. She said that she has the what's that? When you're disabled, the disabled thing, tag or whatever thing hanging in the window. And then she says, these Black boys, they pull right on up in front of me. Did it matter? Did it matter if black, white, green, or purple? Like somebody took your parking spot that shouldn't have been there. Okay. And then somebody even, prejudice. We are all prejudiced. I hope everybody know the difference between prejudice and racist. Okay. So maybe that's why they say it, Pat. Maybe that's why they say that they're not racist, but they don't say they're prejudiced. And we all have it in us. I don't care if anybody say, I don't see color. I don't see color. We all see color. We all see color. And one other person from the UK talked about Black Lives Matter, really messed up things. We're not going to get into that, but I'm not surprised. I'm really not. I'm not, and that's what I say. And like Patrick said, everybody, you can say you're not racist, but you are prejudiced at some point. So racism is born from prejudice. Yep. Because a person of color, a person white could do something to me. Say they rape me. You're not going to ever forget. Probably every white man that passed me by, I'm gonna have a way of feeling. So it, it's life experiences is what it is. So, and before I get back to the video too, I want to say, and I want to say what I said last week is, and I think Rob was here, and he was saying that he had anger, and I said I really don't have anger. We all need to educate ourselves because there were white people that saved us. So, can I hate every white person? No. I could not be here because of a white person. My white boss came in on my job. I was there for 15 years. She pulled my file and she seen the paperwork of what they were paying me. You know what she said? And I still call her. I have been retired forever. She said, "Oh, we're gonna make this right." I got a raise so big, my eyes popped out my head. So it doesn't matter, but I just want you to know that privilege still has power. It has power. Okay. And GBL says, my favorite university professor was Dr. Sharika from Zimbabwe. She was, yeah, we had great teachers. I'm not going to take that away. We had great education. The kids didn't have time to act up because they already know what was going to happen. But okay, I'm going to go back for a little while because we're almost at an hour. So I'm going to go back. Anybody got any questions? We can go into it, but let's just go a little bit more on this. Let me bring it back. Okay, we're going to talk about this integration thing now. Okay, just think. Never really been around white people. Never. That lived in this little cocoon with all these Negroes. Okay? So they decided to send us children into the lion's den. My first editing. And I mean the lion's den. And their mouths wasn't sealed up. They was ready to eat us up. Okay. Second editing. We went in. It was rough. I don't even want to take that away from anything. It was awful. Some days, even my little brother, and I didn't know he remembered, I would call my mom home crying and saying, "Mom, you got to come get me. You got to come get me." There was a girl named Marbella Shelter. I haven't seen Marbella since my high school days, and I've been out of school since 73. She looked at white, but she was black. And it's amazing. A lot of kids back there had a lot of white features in them. So they could pass. So what she did, she used to straighten her hair. So it was fighting so bad, she went in the bathroom and literally washed her hair so her hair could look like an afro. Okay? And the problem was they expected to be able to beat the kids up like they used to when everything was fine. But then the kids fought back and they were not expecting that, so they were expecting little meek people and they didn't get it. And I want you to realize too, before we got integrated, we almost had 100% graduation rate. 1 or 2 people didn't graduate. And I'm going to tell you, if you stayed back a grade, you were too ashamed to tell anybody, okay? Because you get picked at. So just think, before we got integrated, Negroes graduated and went off to college. Even if a girl had a baby, her mom would step back, keep that baby, a grandmom or somebody, and she was going to college. Okay? Then we got integrated. And they said the reason, I heard one teacher, Negro teacher, said that because we was getting old books and whatever, that we needed to get integrated. We didn't know we had old books. What we was learning. So we went into the lion's
den. And it was awful. The teachers, oh, Mr. Fox. I know Mr. Fox probably did, but he was one. He didn't stay the whole year because the boys, they fought so much that they threw a lot of the boys out of school. So see, that's when you could say it basically started, the Negro boys. And I remember one, Mr. Tenson, something his name was, he was trying to break them from beating up a teacher. He ended up getting his jaw broke. So you can remember all that stuff. And can you remember as a kid, and then they throw you to all these white people? And you know what? In a kid's mind, and I put this on a little bit, and let me tell you, I've never really thought about this until they started that classmate.com. We didn't have no black teachers, Negro teachers. Where did they go? Can somebody tell me that was in Riviera Beach? Where did they go?
Hey, Tiff.
We didn't have none of them. We had one counselor, and where did they go? What happened to them? So can you imagine staying in this bubble with nothing but Negroes, and all of a sudden you turn me into these white people that's prejudiced and don't want me there? How that happen? How does that happen? My mom should have had enough money to send me to a private school. That's what she should have did. But anyway, she didn't have that kind of money. But it was really volatile. We had parents on the outside. If you see them now and you look at how they're screaming on the street, that's just how they look. They look like dogs ready to eat up somebody's child. These are grown people hollering at children because their skin color is different. What are they doing that in America? That's what they were doing it at. That's what they were doing. So I can imagine what stuff they did underhandedly that we don't know about to make kids fail and drop out of school. It was just crazy. Then they said that with the integration, it still kept us separate. I'm going to say the kids weren't nasty to us, but you knew what the color of your skin was. Okay? That still kept you in your place. You weren't frightened because this generation, it was like, but we were thrown into the lion's den. That's exactly what I felt like they did. We were together but separate. We were, even when we went to lunch, white sat on one side, we sat on the other side. They would have apple fights. They had to stop serving fruits. Throwing apples at each other. Everybody running out the lunchroom. And the gym, pat rally. See, in the Negro community, that was our stronghold. The church, then them parades, I always say, the church had the strong head. And and when we had pep rallies, our pep rallies when we were all Negroes were, every Friday you wanted that pep rally. It just built you up for them games. Then we went over to the white school. They will sit on one side, we'll sit on the other side. There was no spirit in them, in that pep rally. They would try to start new songs. They would try to get everybody to sit together. They did that one time. Everybody ran across and they made it salt and pepper looking. Oh my God. I remember one interracial couple later on, probably about that next year. His name was Orion. They call him Oreo. But that was really the only one that I saw. Maybe others ones were doing it, but hiding underneath. But we still basically were good kids because we knew if they called our parents and we were being ugly, they would get us. Okay. So, but like I say, once they got rid of the teachers that were really causing the problems, and then after a while, the parents on the outside, they get tired of coming every day. Like, we're not going to be able to change this. No, you're not going to be able to because they in their pocketbooks. If they gave them that funding, and they would have continued being segregated, okay? By the time I got to 12th grade, um, we had a homecoming queen, a homecoming king. Oh, Orion was the homecoming king. He was the one that won from the interracial couple. He could almost look white. Mm-hmm. And then we had the homecoming queen. She was dark skinned. I can't say that. But we always, if they had a prom, it wasn't going to be integrated. Okay. Reunions, class reunions, I would never go to one. I think I even talked about that on the classmate.com because
I'm gonna stop it there because I talked about that most of the time. But it was just a hard time at school, but still we had when we left school, then we were back home in our little cocoon and our bubble. But like I said, by the time I graduated, it was better. Of course, anything, because everybody gets tired. They get tired of being out there every day fighting and growling, and you're not going to get anywhere. Heather said, I have a question about integration. Were white people shipped off to Negro school, or was it a one-way integration? No, it was a full integration. It was, but more of us was bused because before we were integrated, my elementary school, my junior high school, I could walk to. All the schools I could walk to. The only one that would took me a little time and I could have walked to was my high school, but they bused us there. Now, one thing I'm going to say, Heather, and I think this is as an education because somebody, I think it was in the UK, asked me, "Do I want to be called a Negro?" And I'm like, "Huh? Where that come from?" I'm gonna be honest with me. You can't call me a Negro. You probably won't get anything back, but yeah, because it went from mulattoes that were mixed and they stopped that. My family that my mom came from, we were mulattoes. They stopped using that word because it was white and black mixed. And our Indian, our Germans, whoever we were mixed with. Okay. So, and then Negroes came, and that went for a while. That went for a while. And when it always puts that N in the front, to me, it still the same word. That's just me, my perception. And you have to remember, and I tell everybody, every black person is not alike. Okay, they went from Negro, they went to black, which a lot of people still want to be. The older ones I noticed like to be called black. Then they went to African American. Okay, so I tell anybody, you can call me black, you can call me African American. I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with being called either. And I tell you, the reason with African Americans is because sometimes Africans don't like us either. They'll say we're not true Africans. So I always say we don't have a land. We just was bought here, plopped down, and even if they wanted to send us back, that's the funny part. Where you gonna send us? You don't even know where we came from. you know. So seems like black or African American is fine. Yeah, I think it is, Tiff. And you're even from a different generation. So we got the different generations. I was born in the 50s, some was the 60s, some 70s, 80s. Now, I would say the kids that were born in the 70s, it was rough. It was rough for them, especially African American men. And that's why I wanted to back that up too. Because when we got integrated in the 70s, the African American boys, I'm gonna call them boys because that's what they were, not even young men, because we was just getting to 10th grade. They fought back. And that's when that graduation rate started dropping. So that is where it started, really. The white school did not expect them to fight back. And that's when that suspension and throw out and every rate, that's where that started. So um seem like everybody's internet is messing up. But that's really today how far I really want to take it. I say, I'm not going to sit out here and try to grab stuff. I have the finale next week. And if that don't take that much time, what I want you to read, even if GBL is still here, since he's a teacher, somebody from the UK bought this like 2 weeks ago, and they thought it was funny. And maybe they think, that's their perception. And it was about the white and black face minstrels. Blackface, you know how they used to, put the makeup on like they were black. And I really want everybody to really, even if you Google it or find a library book that talk about it, I think we really need to be educated on that, because that started like 1860, where they would paint their faces up. Then they would talk like black people they thought talked to degrade, to still have that racism there, you know. So, and I even say they went to the White House. They enjoyed those shows so much they went to the White House. But I'm really educating myself more on that. I knew it existed, but honestly, I didn't think about it going to another country until the UK person said it. And honestly, it ran longer in the UK. So I just thought that interesting that he bought that up, because I can't remember that me growing up. But like I say, we didn't watch that much TV. Okay. So too many names for us, I think confusion. I don't know if I bring it every day is saying that to somebody else. But anybody got any? I hope I explain that, because sometimes I can run ahead, and because when you're trying to think back in a child's mind, I don't want to remember it as an adult, because I can look back in an adult and really feel a different way about it. My mom, she was very well educated, and even though she didn't go to college, and I'm pretty sure her family couldn't afford it, but my grandfather went to college. He was a professor. We had doctors in the family, so, but I can say that we were well educated. And my mom's side of the family and they made sure that we stayed on top of those books. And I can even remember my mom. I'm gonna bring this one thing up, and Lord, I know everybody gonna hit the ceiling. And my mama said it, but she said, okay, and then I'm definitely gonna end this. My mom said she talked about Abraham Lincoln. Abe Lincoln? Yeah, I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln. Whatever his name, the president name was Abe Lincoln. But he supposed to have freed the slaves. And my mom, and after she told me, it was years later, my mom said that wasn't his intention. It was more about power, because the South was using free labor. And Hello Dance 87, they had free labor. So they were getting richer and richer. And the North didn't like that. So it was more about that than really about us. Because even when the slaves were supposed to be free, they never was free. They had to still work the land. They still had to depend on their masters, so they weren't really, really free. And thank you so much to tell everybody to drop their link. Anybody else have any questions that they can think about me growing up in the 60s? Oh, Tiff, I can tell you they didn't have a weight problem. Me and Tiff gets fit. We're always talking about weight. And I even wrote it down that we walked a lot as children. We didn't stay inside like the kids do today because of the games, the computer. I wish they never would have did that to these kids. I really do. Kids need a book in their hands. They need to go outside. That's one thing I can say. We didn't stay inside because if we stayed inside, yeah, Reconstruction, yeah, it was that. You know, it, the older I get, I always say, if a newscaster came to me and say, "Ma'am, do you think it's changed?" and I would say, "No, sir, I do not." And it won't be until I die, and I won't see it then. And I said last week, Patrick, I don't know if you was here. I only seen it one time, a glimpse of it, just a short glimpse, and that was when George Floyd died. I have never ever. I've seen where civil rights marches have a little white people in there and some priests and whatever. But when George Floyd died, it was a difference. That was just a difference with the whites mixed in. That was a difference. However, it was just a window that shut real close. It closed real fast, real fast. And then everybody went back to the way they were. So that's the only time I seen a glimpse. Even my husband talked about it. That was just a quick glimpse of what it could be if we worked together. Okay, just think that was all over the world. Okay. Let me go back to this what we didn't ask for seconds either. When we ate, I know all the older ones in here, we didn't even think about asking for seconds. And the food, I'm pretty sure, was more filling because it wasn't the fast food. So I think that's what it was. Um, what I got on here, my problem started. Oh, and then really, my weight problem started from people just talking about it. I wasn't even heavy. I'm gonna share a picture with that in another video. I wasn't even fat, and I thought I was fat. So yeah, but yeah, we weren't fat. I can say that we weren't heavy. I shouldn't say fat. We weren't heavy because we walked a lot. We walked a lot. So, and even being heavy, like I said, and even Jamie had and her daughter said, it doesn't represent that you're unhealthy. Sometimes they could be more healthier than us. My thing just with me is just that feel good. I like to feel good and be able to bounce around. See, I didn't change it to the weight thing, Jesus. But yeah, it is. And I just wanted to share part of my history. Um, and leave it back so my grandbabies can hear it and my nephew and nieces can hear because I miss so much from my mom, asking questions. But some questions she wouldn't answer. And I said that the last time. They took stuff to their grave because they had to. They could have died if they told the truth. So, yeah. I talked about that last week. And the one more thing that I talked about last week, and then we're going to get ready to go, is what was I going to say? Shoot, I don't forgot. I'm trying to think of too many things at one time. Maybe it should have been said. That's how I look at it. But anyway, I hope that I answered most of your questions. And what started this was really Patrick, Half Cheetah Will View, because we did a little bit of this on his channel. And we had a lot of people in his chat. And soon as we got on this, the numbers dropped instantly. My sister was out in the chat and she noticed it. And Patrick noticed it right away. And when I did the first one of this one, it did it. It just dropped. So I don't know sometimes what people expect, because we all look at it different. But I have to always remember that Yes, we were brutalized. Yes, we was raped and all of that, but there were people that saved our lives. And I think that's when it puts it in context with me that everybody is not that way. And that's why probably I'm here, so I could take it on another way, but we won't. But that's why I'm here. Because somebody might have saved somebody's life and they weren't my color. And then, too, you have to remember white women, they were property too to their husbands. They couldn't own anything. I mean, they had it better than us, I hope. But people don't want to acknowledge. Yeah, they want us, they don't even want to tell it in the school, but they weren't telling it right, Patrick. They weren't telling it right. They had been lying to us. The Indians was here before Christopher. And that's another thing. When you do read the history books, are you reading the truth? And that's we can only go by, and that's why historians, African Americans, we need to tell our stories. Whites, even older whites, tell the truth, tell your story. We all got a story. We really do. We all got a story. Tiff, she's a different age. Start writing, asking your mama, what did she go through? And then, Tiff, you went through something after that. So we all have a story. So, okay, I'm going to get ready to go. And I am so happy that all of you stayed with me. Elliot, Patrick, Tiff. I know Heather was here, Fluff was here, Dance 87. I bring it every day. And if I miss your name, let me know. Florida and Texas want to whitewash our history. Yeah, and that's where I stay in a red state. And they're doing a pretty good job, Patrick. They're doing a pretty good job. You know what? In Florida, we even voted for daylight saving times to go away. We're still doing daylight saving time. And then for the felons to be able to vote, then they made it so hard they still can't vote. you know? So that's why I say, have things really changed? Has it? Well, thank you, Patrick. Ready for part 5. I'm glad. Coming from you, I'm glad because my first one was real weak, but I had to up it up a little bit. But I can say out of that, I can say my brother is a firefighter, been for all his life, ready to retire. My sister's an RN. My parents did pretty good. None of us had teen pregnancies. My boys didn't have teen pregnancies. So we did pretty good in my family. I must say we did excellent in our family. Thank you, Heather. And you can ask any question you want to. And one thing I didn't tell was one part, because there's always something that sticks in your memory. I had to be a little girl. And we were walking, it was nighttime, street lights was on. And I was noticing my mom and my aunt was looking toward a car. And I will never forget this as long as I live. Was walking. And then as a kid, I was a nosy little kid anyway. Hey, Andre, thanks for stopping by. And I looked over and it was right under the lights was a black woman and a white woman kissing. I will never, ever forget that. But I always remember that part. It's just, that's why I say some things are just defining moments in your life. And that lets you know people are just people, is all. But the only difference in being something else, you can change it if you want to or hide it. But when you got this color, I can't, it's nothing I can do. And that's what I tell everybody. You can hide it. You can, but I can't change my color. I think of all the Jews. If they wanted to change their mind about certain, you know, but so many of us has died because of hate. Because of hate. Thank you. And I'll be here again next week for the finale. And I definitely want y'all to read about the black and white minstrels. And because we're going to talk about that maybe not next week, but I'm going to bring that back up again. And it's not going to get ugly. We're going to be educated by the time we leave him. I'll be 67 in December. So y'all better buy me a present. But okay, thank you so much. And I will see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Okay, thanks again, everybody. Bye bye.